All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, and I really just can't believe it. It's already that time of the year again. We are at the start of the NFL preseason. It feels like we just watched the Super Bowl together. We just watched the draft together, and all of a sudden now we just watched the Hall of Fame game together last week, and all of a sudden we're here at the start of the preseason. We're 2 days away from the actual start of games on Thursday, which is pretty crazy. We're less than a month away from the Lions kicking off against the Chiefs, which is just unbelievable that the NFL is back. So of course, that means we have to get started on these picks videos, have to get back into the swing of things, get reused to everything and all that fun stuff. So if you can, leave a like, help the videos get started off to a good start this year. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you for doing so. Thank you for helping the video, and blah, blah, blah. We'll move on from that. As always, with week 1 of the NFL preseason, it's really hard to pick who's going to win, who's going to be good this year, because again, we're watching the battle of backups for the first 2 weeks of the preseason. So basically that's kind of how we have to look at it. What team has a little bit better depth, better coaching, and just what team has had a history the last few years of actually trying in the preseason. Those are the things that we're going to consider. We know with the Chiefs, they don't really care about the preseason. Andy Reid never really has, so we probably won't see the greatest effort from them this week. So or with Tampa Bay, we know they have a pretty active quarterback battle, so we could see they could be trying pretty hard. So those things are things you want to keep in mind. We'll get to them when we get to them. So let's look at last year. We had probably our worst year in picks last year. Hopefully we can kind of rebound from that and have a good year this year. But again, we went 158, 111, and 2. Not the greatest, but again, not the worst. Still over 100 wins. It was just kind of a rough, just an ugly season overall. I just couldn't really get things going at all. So let's hop right into week 1, right into the first game, and cover some Thursday night football. Right off the bat, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Houston Texans in New England. That'll be Thursday night, 7 o'clock. The Texans are favored by 2.5 with an over-under of 38.5. By the way, the lines are included from FanDuel, so if you're wondering where they came from, and that's where they're from. And I include them not as a way to be oh, this is how I determine the game. I include them after I make my picks, so that way they don't influence it, and they're there for the people who want them. Anyway, I like the Patriots in this game, though the Texans are favored. I think the Patriots have better depth than the Texans, who, while the Texans are a rebuilding team and things seem to be going in the right direction, I do wonder how good the depth is, because the starters aren't the greatest. So I would have to imagine that the depth, the backups aren't going to be the greatest either. And then with the Patriots, it's all right, we know Bailey Zappi can kind of play, and he's going to get a significant chunk of play time tonight. So I wonder if the Texans backups can deal with a guy who can even possibly start for the Patriots in Zappi. And I think the Patriots just have better coaching. DeMeco Ryans is in his first game, so we don't really know how all of that's going to look. So, for the reasons of new coaching versus, very established coaching, the depth issues of the Texans versus the Patriots, who have pretty solid depth, I kind of like the Patriots more in this one. So I'll go with the Patriots over the Texans in Bill O'Brien's revenge game, I guess. I don't know. And then at 10 o'clock that night, we'll see the Minnesota Vikings play Seattle in Seattle. Seattle's favored by 4.5. Oh, I also like the Patriots because they're home as well. And the Viking with an over-under of 35.5. This is a similar reason, though I like the Seahawks coaching situation a hell of a lot more than Minnesota's. And I like that Seattle is at home. I like Seattle's, got good starters and somewhat decent depth, but I think in this game we're going to probably see more of the backups and the backups, and I really don't know who the backup is in Seattle for quarterbacks, the backup quarter. I don't know who they got as a third stringer. I think the second string might be Drew Lock or somebody like that. I'm not 100%, but I think their backup situation isn't too bad. I just think Minnesota's just got decent depth. They have I don't know. I really didn't know how to pick this game. I was just I think Minnesota's a slightly better backup-led football team than Seattle. I could be wrong. This is one of the games I had no idea how to pick. I almost went with Seattle because they were home, but I was I'm going to be different, and I'm going to pick the Seahawks or the Vikings. See, I almost see I don't know. This one I had no idea. You can disagree with me on this one. I just got a feeling. All right, let's go to Friday, 7 o'clock. All these games will take place at 7 p.m. Then we have the New York Giants taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Giants are favored by 3 with an over-under of 36.5. With this one, I just really think the Lions are a little bit better of a... I like the Lions coaching over the Giants coaching right now. I like The Lions seem to have like really good depth overall on the team. They just signed Teddy Bridgewater, so that could be interesting to see. The Giants, like I think one of the things I don't like about the Giants is they have a very limited receiving core. It's improved from last year, right? It'll be a better unit, but then we have to look at the fact that the depth behind that unit isn't going to be the greatest because it's already a thin starting unit, right? Like with Waller and Hyatt, and I think they have another guy. But after those three, it gets pretty thin, and I'm wondering if that'll be a problem against a team like the Lions, who have, it seems like the Lions have like 7 or 8 decent receivers and like 6 good running backs. It seems like offensively the Lions are pretty well loaded with backups. Like they have a good stable of backup running backs with that like Curtis Jackson guy, and then they also have Khalif Raymond, who's probably going to see a lot of play time, and it's like that guy's really, really good. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, I think the Lions overall just have a little bit better offensive depth. I think their defensive depth isn't good, but you know, that's kind of how I feel about the Lions and Giants. So I kind of like the Lions at home in this one. If it was in New York, I'd probably go New York. Oh shoot, I actually didn't wind up going with Tampa Bay. The Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are favored by 1 with an over-under of 39.5. I went with the Steelers in this one because I do think the Buccaneers, regardless of how hard they're going to be trying with Trask and Baker having an open competition, I think the Steelers defensively, from even like their backups, are really, really good. I think the Steelers are going to be a very good defensive team this year that's going to be really hard to play against. And I think even like their backups are going to give like 2 pretty bad quarterbacks a pretty bad situation in Tampa Bay a lot of trouble, even though Tampa Bay is going to be trying really hard to win this game and like play well, because again, Baker and Trask are in that battle. I don't think it's really going to matter. I think the Steelers kind of just come in and kind of embarrass them. I don't know. Preseason's so hard to pick, man, because you just kind of have to go off what your gut's feeling. And I think Pittsburgh's just a better team than Tampa, like even the backups. Yeah, this one was really easy actually to pick. The Green Bay Packers are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Packers are 4.5-point favorites with an over/under of 35.5. Number one, I think Zach Taylor has openly been one of those kind of coaches who don't really give too much of a shit about the preseason, especially now that Joe Burrow's gotten hurt. I'm pretty sure the Bengals are like, yeah, we're not going to do this. We're going to take it easy and just get timing down in practice. Yeah, so like I really don't know how hard the Bengals are going to be actively trying. I don't really know, how much they care to try in this game, especially with the Bengals kind of dealing with a bunch of stuff. And the Packers probably have a lot going on. They're adjusting the first time without Aaron Rodgers on the roster. This is kind of a new era. They probably want to see what they have. They're probably going to ask the guys to play a little bit, probably actually try tonight and go out there and let's show them what we actually have. So yeah, that's kind of why I like the Packers, because they seem like they may have more to play for tonight than the Bengals, who are probably just going to go through the motions and just try to, have some simulated real game time is what I call it. All right. So yeah, give me the Packers. The Atlanta Falcons take on the Miami Dolphins. Falcons are favored by 2.5 with an over/under of 36. I went with the home team in this one. I like the home advantage here. I like the Falcons are a somewhat improving football team, but the problem with the Falcons is the depth, right? Like everything on the surface is pretty solid for the Falcons, right? Like they have a good, a decent young quarterback that might be okay. Some good receivers that are starting to build up, a decent running game that's starting to develop. But it's like once all those starters leave the game, I have no idea what they have left. It's like, then we have the Falcons from last year. And it's like, oh, that's not a good football team. They're going to get destroyed. Miami, on the other hand, has pretty decent depth. The quarterback depth isn't great. But I don't know. Skylar played in a playoff game and almost beat the Bills, so I guess it's not that bad. They have decent... they're both depth challenged, but I think Miami's got a little bit better depth. They've been around a little bit longer. It's a little bit more established depth on the Dolphins than the Falcons, who are kind of rebuilding and filling in new pieces. So again, if this was in Atlanta, I might lean a little bit heavier on the Falcons, but because it's in Miami and because I kind of like Miami's depth a little bit better, and I think Miami's got smarter coaching, give me the Dolphins over the Falcons. Whatever. If this was the regular season, we'd actually have a real analysis other than like, I like their backups. I hope you guys know that like this is all I have to go on is like just gut feelings and All right, at 7:30 now, we'll see the Washington Commanders take on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Hey, we know the Browns, they're 1-0. We know their backups can play pretty all right. Browns are favored by 3 with an over under of 38.5, and that's why I have the Browns winning. I liked what I seen out of Dorial Thompson Robinson, or whatever the hell that guy's name is, from UCLA. He looked all right. The Browns running game looked really good, actually, from the backfield. I really liked what I seen out of the Browns running backs. So it seems like Nick Chubb has a pretty good choice of who his partner in crime is going to be this year. And with the Commanders, I really just don't know. Like, the quarterback situation's really muddy. The whole offensive situation's really muddy. I just really don't know what we're about to see. They're in a brand new era. I know they're going to be trying hard for the new owner, so that could play into it. If this was maybe in Washington, I'd maybe consider the Commanders winning. But again, it's not like we're going to see their starting defense at all. It's going to be basically all the backups. And really, with the offense, I have no idea what we're about to see out of Washington. Eric Bieniemy, are they going to like actually do something, or is this just kind of going to be a go through the motions, get timing down game? And we kind of just know what the Browns backups look like. They look pretty solid, so I like the Browns in this one based on that. And it's in Cleveland. Then at 10 o'clock, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Broncos are favored by 5.5 with an over-under at 37.5. This just seems like it's because the Cardinals are going to be like the worst team in the NFL this year. And everybody's just kind of like, well, yeah, do we really expect them to win? And it's just like, yeah, probably not. And that's kind of where I stand. It's just like, the Cardinals, man. I've seen some of the camp footage that they've had, and it's just like, it looks like a JV practice out there. You got quarterbacks hitting dudes in the back of the helmet. They taking literally the entire time to like call an audible and like move guys around and get the pre-play snap stuff down. The defense just looks perplexed about how bad the offense is performing. So I really can't pick the Cardinals. This could be real bad this year for them. I think that might be the worst team in the NFL. I'm not too sure. They might pick one this year. Them or Tampa. Sorry if you're a fan of the Cardinals. You might want to not watch them this year. That's all I have to say. 1 p.m., the Tennessee Titans take on the Chicago Bears. The Bears are favored by 3 with an over-under of 37. This is basically, I just think the Titans have better backups than the Bears. We've seen the Titans backups play. They usually play about week 10 of the regular season every year when everybody gets inevitably injured somehow in Tennessee, and they got to come in and save the day. So give me the Titans over the Bears. Bears are really thin as starters, so I can't imagine their backups are any good. I don't even care that it's in Chicago, to be honest. Then we have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Buffalo Bills. Colts are favored by 5 with an over-under of 39.5. Unless I just don't know that the Bills decide to take it easy in the preseason and throw it in. I don't know why the Colts are favored here. It's not like they have any depth. Like, all their starters are pretty mid-tier. They were a bad team last year. I don't really see them being much better this year. But again, they're going to be running backups in this, and you have to consider that the fact that their starting unit's already rather thin. What the hell does that backup unit look like? And the Bills actually have really good depth on the football team, so I like the Bills over the Colts, especially in Buffalo. Let's see, what do we got at 4 o'clock? The Carolina Panthers taking on the New York Jets in Carolina. Panthers are favored by 3.5 with an over-under of 37.5. We may see Rodgers take his Jets debut in this game. That'll be pretty cool, but he won't play for long. We'll see mainly Zach Wilson and probably the backup to him because they cut Streveler. But again, we kind of seen what the backup Jets offense looks like. It's not good. It looks just like it did last year. Without Aaron Rodgers, this Jets team is probably pretty bad. And then we have Carolina Panthers. I don't know. Everyone's pretty excited about them. We'll see if they've actually lived up to any kind of hype. At least maybe the backups. I don't know. I like that Carolina's home. That's a big push for me in this one. The Jets backups are just not very good. They're going through the motions. They really can't afford anybody to get hurt. So give me the Panthers over the Jets because I think the Jets kind of phone it in a little bit. Saturday football continued. We have a 5 p.m. game. The Jaguars take on the Cowboys in Dallas. Jags are favored by 4 with an over-under of 37. I just think the Jaguars, I don't know. This is a 1-point game. I never do 1-point games. They're pretty rare for me to pick like that. I just think Dallas, I don't know. This is probably one of the better games of the weekend. We have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are favored by 6 with an over-under of 35.5. And I picked the Ravens because they just don't lose in the preseason. They're like the preseason tryhards. I don't even remember the last time Harbaugh lost. He could have last year, but I don't think he did. And until he loses in the preseason, it's an easy pick. Just take the Ravens. I don't really think Sirianni's going to try as hard as Harbaugh is going to in this game. So again, give me the Ravens over the Eagles. Who knows? Maybe the Ravens take it easy for once. I doubt it. This will be a halfway decent game. The Los Angeles Chargers take on the Rams. A little fun game. The Rams are the home team, like it really matters. Rams are favored by 3 with an over-under of 33.5. Yeah, I like the Chargers more. I think the Rams might be one of the worst teams in football this year, especially if they can't really use Stafford. If they have to go with a bunch of backups, it's going to be pretty ugly. Whereas with the Chargers, they have decent depth. The Rams got better coaching, but I don't. Who cares? It's just, I don't trust the Rams backcourt. Like non-Matthew Stafford Rams, no, thank you. Sunday football, we got 2 games left to go through. We have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are favored by 3 with an over-under at 37.5. Yeah, I like the Saints in this one. They're the home team. They have a lot to prove and build on for this coming up season. We know that the Chiefs have historically kind of not given a shit about the preseason, especially Andy Reid-led teams. So those kind of reasons just make it an easy game to pick the Saints in, mainly because, again, the Chiefs are kind of known preseason chuckers under Andy Reid. Maybe his mindset's on it changed, but especially with a new offensive coordinator, but I doubt we see Mahomes more than a play or more than a drive. So, and then we have the final game. Holy crap, I need a drink of some water. Of course, I shake my microphone. Anyway, we have the final game of the card. It'll be 49ers taking on the Raiders. The 49ers are favored by 4 with an over-under of 35.5. And I kind of agree with that. It's just, again, the Raiders starting unit is, whatever. But the backup unit might be really pathetic to watch. Outside of Jimmy G, it's pretty thin pickings. And then they have to go play a defense that's very loaded. The starters are good. The backups are good. The 49ers have a very active backup quarterback battle going on between Darnold and Lance. So we're probably going to see a lot of edgy competitive play out of the 49ers all night. So I would imagine that gives the 49ers quite the little edge over a Raiders team that maybe just be going through timing motions and all that. So give me the Niners, better coaching anyway. All right, that pretty much brings an end to our week 1 NFL pick'em stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed everything. You learned something or so. Anyway, again, thank you so much for listening all the way through. If you did, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe. But like we said earlier, it does help the video out. Sorry to bring it up again. It's just, we're at the end of we're at the end. So again, week 2 will come out at a similar time to this one. Hopefully we do good. Who knows how it'll go. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Week 1 of the NFL preseason. We got it under wraps. Those are our picks. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Let me know your thoughts or whatever down below. We get back to every comment. And yeah, week 1 down. A whole bunch more to go. Let's hope it's a good year. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, night, morning, mid-afternoon, midsummer, mid-whatever time you listen to this. Peace. Go Patriots. Bye-bye.